Okay, so let's test drive this thing. I'm going to try and record this video and get it to YouTube. So if you're watching this, I am awesome. Okay, so here's the cash flow function right here on your calculator. So if you just click cash flow, um, you'll see that there's the CF0, and then you go through the down and there's all these like CFs and F1s and stuff. If you just keep scrolling, there's really only, it looks like there's 20 of them, but there's really only like 4 or 5. So then what you do is, like, let's say there's numbers in here or whatever. This is the most important feature. I'm just putting it in. So now you see those numbers stick. And the important thing is that you press enter. So let's turn off. Let's say we want to go to the cash flow function and there's all this shit in here. Then the first thing you need to do when you're going to do something different is go second, and then down here where it says clear work, you click that and it clears everything. So then what you do is, basically all this is saying is, and I find that going through using this stereo opposed to up, it goes in a more logical sequence. Like this right here is cash flow at time 0. So this is your investment. So let's say you're going to invest $500 and then you make that a negative. Oops, sorry. You make that a negative. As soon as you put in that 500, you press enter, and then once again go down. Now you're in your cash flow at time 1. So that's going to get you $80 at time 1, and it's the end of the year. And of course, if you want to, it's at the end of the year, but if your cash flows happen at the beginning of the year, then you just do the same thing as if you were operating in this sort of, whatever you'd call this, your time value stuff, where you just go second, payment, second, enter. That would switch it to beginning, but when I did all of these, essentially none of them whatsoever required that. So then, once again, you get $80 at time 0, you press enter, and then you go down, and then you have this F01. Now, this is what I was talking about. Like, if you were to go up, it takes you back to cash flow at time 1, but if you were to press up again, then it takes you back to cash flow at time 0, so you're kind of going backwards. I always think that going down is way better. So you go down, you get $80, so you press enter. I know I've pressed that like 3 times. Then you get to this F01. All this F01 thing is, and this is where I was really confused, is it's the frequency of the cash flow. So if you have something that's like 10 years, then I would do them one by one. So by default, it happens once. If you got $80 in year 1, in year 2, in year 3, then that would happen 3 times, and you can press 3, enter, always press enter, and now you're happening at cash flow 2. The reason that if it's 10 years, the reason that I did them manually is because you kind of lose track. Like this cash flow 2 is actually cash flow 4 because what you put in for cash flow 1 happened 3 times. Once you use this, if it doesn't make sense, once you use it once, it'll make sense. So rather than saying cash flow at time 2, think of it as the second cash flow that you're going to be having. So let's say at time 4, suddenly we get $100. Enter, and this happens once, so by default you don't have to put anything in there. And then let's say the third cash flow that we get is, I don't know, $5. So we press enter, and then you can just go down. You could see, like, now it's asking you for cash flow, or the frequency of cash flow 4. Because you haven't put anything in there, it's just going to default to 0. See, there's 0, and it'll always add one as soon as you put in cash flow. So this is the 4th cash flow, and because in that second frequency, or the cash flow 1, you put a frequency 3, this isn't at T4. However, if you just left that and did this C01, C02, C03, C04, then that would be your cash flows from whatever 1 to 4, and then your cash flow 0 is your investment. So you can, like, let's, I don't know, get out of here or whatever, and then if you go back to your cash flow, like, this is stored in here now, so that's just sitting in the hopper there waiting for you to do something with it. So you can do a couple things. First, you can go to NPV, if you just click on it, the first thing it's going to do is it's going to ask you for an interest rate. Same thing, let's say your discount rate is 15%, right? Once again, press enter, and then it'll allow you to toggle through here. I always go down, it always makes sense. So now NPV is 0. If you get to this NPV and then you just go compute, it'll tell you the net present value of that investment. Okay? So obviously this is a losing investment. What you can also do is you can say IRR. Now in IRR, this is the only thing that you can calculate there, so you can toggle in here, you're not going to do anything. If it goes here, you just go compute. So it's 12.77%. Okay, that's your internal rate of return. And you can actually check that by going back to NPV and going 12.77, enter. It'll keep this one in here, but you can recompute it. Whoops. Well, that's embarrassing. 12.77 NPV. Oh, maybe you do have to clear this. Clear. Yeah, sorry, you do have to clear it. Whoops. I'm trying to operate this and enter NPV, compute. What the fuck? Okay, well you can maybe stop watching here because I don't know why that didn't work. That's worked for me 100,000 times. Clear, IRR, NPV, 12.7. Maybe I need to go deeper. 12. I'm just gonna write this down. 12.77024054. Yeah, maybe that's what this is. At the end of the day, you just need to, if you have to calculate IRR, you don't have to check it like this. 24054, enter, compute. What the fuck? Enter. Oh fuck, I don't know. Okay, well maybe I'll call you on this. I don't know why this isn't working. I'll have to play with it.